Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with a BioWare news update. There's more changes within the company's structure, and this time it happens to be that a studio within the BioWare family is sadly shutting down. That happens to be the ones who worked on Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, I found this as a bit of a surprise in a way because of recent news that came out about the sales for Mass Effect Andromeda, that maybe despite all the failure Andromeda was, that perhaps they'll keep the studio together because it did make them a decent amount of money. This came from an earnings call from EA on a report by Forbes.com. Year-on-year growth was driven by Mass Effect Andromeda sales captured in the quarter and by FIFA, Jorgensen said. Digital net sales were 681 million, a new record for the first quarter, and up 113 million on the year-ago period. The increase reflects strength in live services together with our mobile business. In addition, Mass Effect Andromeda was a significant contributor. Full game PC and console downloads generated net sales of 111 million, 32% higher than last year. This was driven by Mass Effect Andromeda sales captured in the quarter. Now, that sounds good, man. That sounds like a lot of money that was made for a game that has been ripped to shreds over the past few months and one of the biggest mysteries in game development as of recently. So when I saw that piece, I thought to myself, well, I'm imagining the studio's going to go ahead and just work on different things for now, but it turns out they're shutting down BioWare Montreal. According to an article by MMORPG.com, BioWare Montreal is no more. It has been literally merged with EA Motive, and remaining employees being moved to the studio to, quote, help develop a new IP, end quote. EA Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen said, we're building out a new studio in Montreal, as we've told everyone, and we've hired over 100 people for that studio that are brand new to EA. This is to build new IP around Jade Raymond's team that she's been building. She brought our BioWare Montreal team into that same facility. The move means that BioWare studios have now been reduced to BioWare Edmonton, with teams working on most notably Dragon Age 4 and Anthem, and BioWare Austin working primarily on Star Wars: The Old Republic. So this is a shift in EA as a company I've noticed over time. We saw the same thing with Star Wars Battlefront during EA. They came out talking about Battlefront 2. They knew that Battlefront 1 sold really well. Battlefront 1, despite how hollow of a game it was at launch, it actually sold really well, unsurprisingly, because of the return of Star Wars. But EA knew that the game itself wasn't that good, and they actually confronted that on stage during E3. And once again, we're seeing that here with Mass Effect. We see here, Mass Effect made a lot of money. Andromeda did them very well despite it not being too good of a game, but they're still putting the series on ice, and they're even shutting the studio down and moving them somewhere else to work on new IP, despite that money being made. And I once again do have to commend that, just like I did with Battlefront. It's really surprising to see EA make that type of decision, but I think part of it's this. They can't afford to put Mass Effect on ice for a little bit and can't afford to move studios to different new IP, because while Mass Effect is very popular, they own right now the biggest sci-fi brand of them all, which is Star Wars. So there's no reason for them to really go out of their way and try to pump out Mass Effect. Yes, we have hardcore Mass Effect fans. I'm a big Mass Effect fan. I'm sure you guys out there are. But at the end of the day, like I said, they own the biggest sci-fi brand imaginable. Why not just pump all your resources into that? That'll make you more money than even the best Mass Effect game imaginable. So now we know that EA Motive is working on a brand new IP. Jade Raymond is going to be heading up that team. She worked formerly on the Assassin's Creed team. My guess is, yet again, it's going to be another Star Wars game. We're seeing a big focus on EA trying to push out more Star Wars. Respawn's working on a Star Wars game. Motive's probably working on one. I'm sure BioWare somewhere has to be, please. And then obviously DICE is. So I think they want all of their studios to be on that Star Wars hype, because that's where a lot of money is going to be made. And I don't mean to get off track with the whole Star Wars thing, but I think if BioWare were to be working on one, it's going to be after Anthem. If anything, I think Anthem's going to get their full attention. It's a new IP. It's definitely got the crowd's attention, so I'm curious to see how that one will develop. So the family of BioWare Montreal will remain together in Montreal, but they're adding 100 new people. It's going to be a brand new team to EA, and Jade Raymond's going to be leading it. So I'm curious to see how that will end up. Hopefully, whatever this project is, not only gets the proper time, but more importantly, a concise vision that doesn't drastically transform over time, because I do think that there has to be some type of potential in BioWare Montreal. Just, I think they need to make sure they get the vision down right so that they don't have what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda, where they have to try to make a whole game in, like, what was it, a year and a half or something? Anyway, I just wanted to deliver you guys the news on BioWare, let you know what's happening with them. One less studio for them, so now we just have Dragon Age, Anthem, and Star Wars The Old Republic from the couple of BioWare studios that remained. Let me know what you think of this news in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content we create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.